face, front true believers. Welcome to episode 115 of the Pitch Nerds. We are the weekly show where two nerds assemble to bring you the latest nerdy news, reviews, and pitches, and all that manner of fun nerdy stuff. I'm Cap. With me again, as always, best friend, fellow nerd, and stranger on a bus trying to find his way home, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how are you doing today?
Good. For some reason, that reminded me of that song,
What if God was
Oh, I was thinking of that, and I'm homebound, dun, 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 and I miss you, dun, 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 you know that one? And now I wonder.
If I could fall into the sky.
I like it that you are able to tap into music with me because I was for some reason that song popped into my head at D&D last week.
Really?
And I was like, yeah, I got that song, and they're like, what song? And I did just exactly what I did for you. And they were all like, I've never heard that in my life. And I'm like, yes, you have. I had to play the song, and
I'd walk 1,000 miles if I can just see you. Yes.
Tonight.
Honestly, too many of those people in your nerd group have worked retail to not have heard that song at least 4 dozen times a day.
This is true, yeah. But that was a song from White Girls, right? Where they're
was it?
Do you remember that movie?
I do. I just don't recall the details of it. Other than
they
the
were
obvious premise.
They were in the car, and all the girls like, "Oh, it's Jim!" And then they had to pretend like they knew the song. So they were trying to tonight, they were doing that, and just a second after everybody else,
right?
And they were kind of, yeah.
That is the whitest white girl song ever.
Well, then of course I didn't know the song, but then some rap song comes on, and they're getting into it and singing along, and that was the joke. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Oh man,
I think the song is actually called 1,000 Miles. Maybe if you know what the song is called, leave it.
Leave us a comment.
Leave us a comment. Let us know how many. If you work retail, let us know how many times a day.
How many times you listen to it? Yeah, that's a good one.
God, you know what's funny? Because I work. Where I work, we have our playlist used to be tolerable, but then some of the corporate sanctioned retail music has started to saturate the Dave & Buster's playlist, and I think that's one of the songs that has become just a permanent staple in the Dave & Buster's music profile. Because before it was an eclectic mix. We would go from Korn to The Doors to Enrique Iglesias, to Taylor Swift, to Fall Out Boy. Just a really weird playlist. But, here's 1,000 Miles. But anyways. I understand you, Boo.
Just tonight. Anyway, enough terrible music. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds. Yes. Shall we just jump straight in? We'll do some nerdy news, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, Takashi Yamazaki reportedly denied. We were talking about this last week, so this is correction. This is a new a nerdy news updated correction. Last week we were talking about how Godzilla -1. We were blown away by how well it's doing, despite they built this beautiful movie on a budget of $15 million.
A shoestring budget, yeah, right.
Yeah, but we said it was a $15 million budget,
right?
So Takashi Yamazaki reportedly denied reports that Godzilla -1 had a $15 million budget. Mm-hmm. This is a direct quote.
Okay.
I wish it were that much.
Yeah.
So we were wrong. It's even less.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shocking.
Wow. I mean, you know what? Other countries, though, have different standards of things.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, like the big one for me is She-Hulk.
Right.
Like everyone was like,
$250 million.
Well, they were like, oh, look how terrible the CGI is. And then you listen to actual CGI artists, and they're like, no, this is really good. Mm-hmm. It's because over here, I think, unless it's absolutely perfect, we're like, oh, it failed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And and I don't know. It's really interesting. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just type in She-Hulk. Not now, obviously after the show.
Yeah, watch
Type in
this first.
She-Hulk. Yeah, type in She-Hulk and then Visual Artists React. I think that's it. Or Corridor Crew. That's the people that did it. They're professional artists and they VFX artists, and they were talking about She-Hulk. Nice. It kind of gives you a good. I always like listening to experts in the field rather than just some asshole on Twitter.
But the asshole on Twitter heard it from a reliable source.
Or they didn't hear it at all. They just made shit up.
Shut up, Frosty. They heard it from a neighbor whose friend knows a guy.
Okay, but this is an opinion thing as well. Like you can look at VFX and go, "Oh, that's shit," and your opinion is perfectly valid.
Right.
But I'm talking like I like listening to the opinions.
Right. I know. I'm.
Yeah, I know. I was just clarifying right now. But yeah, so less than a 15 million budget. I think you're right. You have less standards when looking at foreign film,
right?
Still, I mean,
because what awesome. Big Japanese actor or actress was in this? That's like the headliner, like the Tom Cruise. I'm sure it didn't have that. I'm sure it's just some.
Oh, maybe for them, but yeah, I mean, obviously,
right. But there's but I don't see.
Sometime I want to watch Devil's Advocate as a Behold Nerds pick one day. The interesting thing about that movie is in order to get what's his name? Not De Niro, the other one.
Pesci?
Gosh. But anyway, in order to get the big name actor, Keanu decided to waive his
salary. Yeah. He waived his salary. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, there's like a famous thing of him on the subway, and it's like, why are you riding the subway anyway? Or Keanu Reeves, and then he sees Pacino.
Okay.
I was gonna. I always get those two.
Yeah, they're kind of the same human in my head.
But anyway, yeah, he was on the subway and someone recorded him, and like he gives up his seat because a woman comes on the subway. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's a good dude as far as I can tell. I mean, I always say this: I don't know him, so I have really no opinion.
Right.
But from what I can tell, he seems like a solid dude.
Right.
Also in the news, so in 1 week from now, Barbie will be released on Max. I don't think you or I have seen this yet.
I have seen Barbie. I loved the Barbie movie. That movie was one of those movies where it was better than it needed to be. And for all the internet rabble of, oh, it's woke and blah, 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 blah. It's not woke, it's Barbie. Like, what, a Barbie movie is going to be female-centric and at the quote-unquote expense of the Ken who's, like, this forever friend-zoned by Barbie? It was perfect.
I mean, when I was a kid, I had a Brave Star toy. It was about the same size as Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I needed him to have a girlfriend, I stole one of my sister's Barbies.
Right.
So she was definitely going for Brave Star in my universe instead of Ken.
Right.
But anyway,
it was a good movie. I love the beginning, and the ending was perfect, and everything in between. It was almost like a version of the Lego Movie, kind of, sort of, if I were to compare it to anything. But
so it didn't interest me enough to go see it or anything, but now that it's coming out on Max, I'll watch it. I'm interested to know, anyone watching or anyone that will watch, let us know, is this something you guys are going to watch on Max, or are you indifferent, or is it something you don't want to watch? Be interested to know. But I will definitely be watching. Sounds like Cap.
I really shut up and take my money. Shut up and take my money. It was better than it needed.
Are you going to rewatch it though?
So Mrs. Cap hasn't watched it. I can probably convince her to watch it. It's a solid movie. I can't complain. Okay. Like the best part of that movie, I think, is was it Kate McKinnon? I always forget her name, but she plays.
Yeah, she's funny.
She plays weird Barbie, and because there's all these different Barbies, and there's all these different versions of Ken, and you know, not all girls are nice with their Barbies, so hence here's weird Barbie, and she has like the makeup stain. It reminds me of the doll from Rugrats that Angelica had, and it was just all fucked. Yeah, it reminded me of that. Just that's her character.
Malibu Stacy.
Yeah,
was the doll.
No, that's The Simpsons.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't.
No, if you know the name of Angelica's doll from the Rugrats, please comment. Um, it's
Cynthia.
Cynthia, yes. She's sort of like Cynthia, and it's great. So, plus there's the I'm not sure if you heard the rabble on the. There's a scene where there's like a world map, but it's done cartoony style, and it has like a treasure map, the dotted lines that sort of take you here and blah 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 blah. Certain pundits on a certain news channel saw this map and they looked where China is and they see these dots. It's clearly a dotted line because you see these dots throughout the entire map, like following a treasure map. And upon counting the islands, it's short one of the islands that's in that area, so they use that as a way to say, oh, well, clearly this movie is pro-China because there's clearly no Taiwan. What? It's just,
That always happens.
y'all are dumb. I'm sorry. It's
I know,
kids' treasure map. Y'all are dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just ignore it.
I know, but it's funny to me because I heard about it, and then when I saw the movie, it's like it's like a map. There's like little dotted lines, like a map. Y'all are idiots. What are you doing? Fix our infrastructure, damn it! Stop bitching about Barbie.
I don't want to go political.
But
anyways,
I'm done.
Let us know if you guys will be watching. This one's kind of interesting. Apparently, there's a live action Silk series in the works. The writers' room. I guess it stopped because of the writer strike.
I thought it was going to be a movie because I know the Madam Web trailer dropped.
It says series. It says series. But anyway, it's going to continue in January. What are your thoughts on that? Would you be excited for a Silk series?
Yeah. Who's doing it?
I mean, a live action. I like Spider-Man a lot.
Right.
Let's just start.
Right.
She has basically Spider-Man powers. I know they're a little bit different, but
yeah.
I think that would be fun to see live action. I don't really know a lot about Silk as a character. I remember when they introduced her, and she was like, her and Peter had that kind of pheromone thing, and they were like,
they found each other or something.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we have to have sex, and she made her costume originally out of her webbing, which I thought was cool.
Yeah,
looks like they changed that.
She's kind of a recent character, isn't she?
I mean, yeah, relatively speaking,
right.
Recent. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I think if it's got a good story, you've already got a fun premise character, web swinging and all that. I'd be down for it. I as long as it's good. Obviously, if they're only working on writing and it's gonna pick up in January, this is a ways off. But
right.
What did you think of the Madam Web trailer?
Yeah, we've talked about this. I'm sort of burned out on all of it.
Well, that's a bummer because that's our entire show.
I know, but god damn it, Marvel just feels like.
Well, this isn't MCU. Marvel.
I know, but even with the Sony stuff, it's so hit or miss. Like the Spider-Man stuff has been fantastic. Everything.
No, for the most part, I think MCU is always hit, even when it misses. I'm just kind of like, yeah, that was fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, what was it? I haven't seen the Marvels yet, but the miss for me was the one where it was what was the big team they tried to do again? The Eternals.
The Eternals, yeah.
See, that one and Iron Man 2 were the biggest misses for me, but I still enjoyed it. Like I wasn't like, oh god, when is this over?
I really enjoyed Iron Man 2. I don't think Iron Man 2 gets the credit it deserves. Was it as good as the first one? No. Was it awful? No. I think I enjoyed the second one more than the third, personally. Yeah. Even though I think the third one was better written.
I don't know. No. But Madam Web, though, I watched the trailer for it. It didn't get me like hyped. Like I wasn't like, but at the same time, I was interested enough that I'd like to see it, especially with the different versions of the Spider-Man. And I think they're doing the whole like Web of Fate thing, you know. And so yeah, I would be interested in it. So far, none of the Sony stuff really hit for me, with the exception of Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. He wasn't my favorite Peter Parker, but I went back and rewatched that movie. That movie was really good. So yeah,
the first Amazing Spider-Man wasn't that bad. I think Andrew Garfield was the better Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire. 8,000%.
But he doesn't feel like Peter Parker.
It doesn't feel like there's something off about it. It's like the Kirkland brand Peter Parker.
I feel like the best one so far is Holland because he's the most Peter Parker.
He's the most plucky, and he's a kid.
Yeah, but he's also the most like because Spider-Man's supposed to be talking shit. That was something
right. Garfield did really well.
Garfield did, but then his Peter Parker was too cool.
Right.
And then you go, Tobey Maguire was a good nerd, but then his Spider-Man, he wasn't talking shit.
Right. It's sort of like, but not in Spider-Man fashion. Like,
they had corny style stuff like, "We'll get you, Spider-Man." Right. You know, it was all that kind of shit.
Well, I mean, I liked it when he was fighting in his cage match. Like, oh, nice outfit. Who picked it out? Your mom or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, there's tiny little sprinklings, but just not enough.
I just think Tom Holland pulled that off the best. But,
yeah. Oh, because he's
anyway,
a nerd. But anyways.
Well, I would watch a Silk series. I think. I mean, I don't have any shows at the moment, so like if it came out, I would definitely sit down.
Yeah, it's a shame that we have to wait forever for the second half of Invincible.
Yeah, it sucks.
We did get the trailer for The Boys though. Next Boys.
So I haven't seen it yet, but next bit of news: James Gunn's DCU. They've cast their Maxwell Lord. It's going to be Sean Gunn.
Okay.
So what do you think of
his brother? I mean, it was inevitable.
People give him shit for hiring like people from like that he's worked with on Marvel projects.
Oh, shush.
Every director fucking does that.
Every director does that. Every director does that.
Even if like it's not an unreasonable. Let's take it away from Hollywood for a second. If you are a person that works on projects and you know and you've worked with people in the past who have worked with you on successful projects,
right?
You would hire those people again because you know that it's a good bet. You know, like
right, absolutely.
This person. But anyway, Maxwell Lord. So we know there's going to be a Maxwell Lord in the upcoming Gunverse, whatever you want to call it. But
so who is he again?
He was the Pedro Pascal played him in.
In Wonder Woman. Okay.
Huh. He's kind of a big deal in comics because so the big famous comic story that kind of it's one of those pivotal moments in comics. I don't know why it's always neck snapping, but basically he has the power to control. He has like telekinetic thing, and he can control you. At first it was limited, but later in comics he got to the point where he could control Superman.
Okay.
And so it was like, holy fuck. And basically he was wreaking havoc with Superman.
Right.
And then Wonder Woman was one of the few people that can like throw down with Superman.
Right.
And so she throws her tiara and it slashes Superman's neck. And so he's holding it until he's like temporarily incapacitated. And then she grabs her lasso and lassos up Maxwell Lord. Basically, he's a rich guy, but he gets telekinetic powers.
Yeah.
She lassos him up and then she says, you will stop your beating now and blah, blah. And he's like, you can't hold me this in the lasso forever. As soon as I'm out, I'm always gonna control Superman, and I'm always gonna use him to attack the world and kill all everybody and do all that. And then she was like, how do I stop you? And he says, kill me, because the lasso true. The scary thing is he was saying that because the lasso, I'm always gonna keep attacking you. And then how do you stop me? He says, kill me. Right. And she goes, okay, and then she snaps his neck. Now, nowadays, you're probably thinking, well, of course Wonder Woman's just gonna snap his neck. It's fucking Wonder Woman, right?
Right.
This is why you think that, because of that moment. At that moment, this was the Zack Snyder neck snap.
Is that what galvanized her as the...
Yeah, definitely one of them. Yeah, because it was considered out of character for the time. And people were like, oh my God, Wonder Woman snapped this guy's neck. But nowadays, you're just like, well, it's Wonder Woman. Of course she did. She would just punch him through the head, like I
love how she beat Wonder Woman, how she was originally like this sort of, I don't know, sexualized character. Yeah. And then now she
loses her powers when she's tied up,
right?
And by a man,
right? And how she's just, bro. Then you see her again, and she's hurling tanks outside the UN. Like that's how I see Wonder Woman. I'm glad, even though they didn't show her doing that in the first movie, we did see her like take that tank.
Yeah.
You have to have Wonder Woman throwing a tank. Like it's just...
But like, think about it. Like, so you had Zack Snyder's Superman snapping Zod's neck. That was a kind of pivotal moment, in,
right?
not so much comics, but in comic book,
right?
Zeit. You know what I mean?
And the greater discussion of
Yeah. It happened in a movie, but it's still that same universe.
right.
But then you have Wonder Woman snapping Maxwell Lord's neck. That was a big moment. And then think about it, like what killed the Silver Age? Peter
Gwen
Parker
Stacy.
catching Gwen Stacy in her neck snap. Yeah. Like,
huh.
it's so funny. Like it's always neck snapping.
It's always neck snapping.
but yeah. So anyway, we got a.
That's interesting because he was also Weasel, and I mean anything like mocap, any type of creature. He's like John Gunn is essentially James Gunn's Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Just throw him in a mocap suit.
Well, anyway, so there's going to be a Maxwell Lord in James Gunn's DCU. Let us know what you guys think of that.
Yeah.
He's always tied to Wonder Woman, so I'm guessing I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but that would be a thing I would look forward to. Hopefully, she snaps his neck. That would be good.
Yeah.
Gotta have a neck snap.
Yeah, you have to. Anyways, what else?
All right. So final season of Stranger Things begins filming in early January.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for it?
Yes. You said
yeah,
this is the final season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stranger Things is one of those shows that comes around. I'm like, yay, it's here, and then I watch it, and I'm like, yay, that was good.
Right.
You know, like,
it's a satisfying show to watch.
Yeah. What was it the season where they sang the Never-Ending Story?
Yeah.
So I'm watching that, and I'm just like, man, Cap's gonna be happy when this gets to this part.
So out of nowhere. As
soon as I know you've seen it, because all of a sudden I get a text message saying like, man, Never-Ending Story hits so hard or something like that.
It is one of the greatest things to come out of the 80s. No, it's such a great show. It's true to the era. Nothing feels forced ever. The characters are great. Every character has a really interesting arcs. I like Nancy and Steve. Both of them have. If you look at where they began and where they are now, they're sort of like opposite ends of each other. Where Nancy sort of become like almost like the Linda Hamilton, like the badass warrior type. Where before she was just sort of like the damsel going after the pretty boy, and then Steve, who's a jackass, has sort of become like the older brother babysitter.
My favorite character was the what was it, the Samwise Gamgee guy? What's his name?
David, was that his name?
I can't remember, but
yeah,
his character.
He was so.
I was like, this guy is really a bad guy. He's 100%. This is a fake out.
Right.
He's too good of a dude. He's really a bad.
Turns out he's just a good dude.
Like he was just a good dude. Yeah, like.
But that made it hurt when he was eaten by the dog monster.
That was like why? Because you were expecting the whole time for the double cross, and then you realized he was entirely genuine.
Right.
And then he's dead when you realize that. That's why I was like, this is good TV.
Right.
But yeah, I like that guy.
Then what's his name? Rob Reiner's really good in that movie too.
Because I was very against him all the way up until that moment, and like
because in your head you're thinking he's a bad guy, and it's like it's such an obvious villain.
I'm like, you could do better, Winona, and I'm like, he was a snake.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. It's been a couple years, but I know we had the strike and everything, so I look forward to it. I'm glad that it's coming to an end and it tells its story. Hopefully, there isn't like a million spin-offs. Actually,
I have. As far as like endings are concerned, I agree with you. I think things have to come to an end.
Yes.
For it to work, but at the same time, I think some universes work where you can end something and then tell something else because the universe is that big.
Right.
I'm not sure Stranger Things is that big because I think Stranger Things is more character centric.
Mm-hmm.
But things like Star Wars, you can end the Luke Skywalker line. You can tell a story about Mandalorians.
Right. And I still maintain that the Quiet Place series is a distant sequel to Stranger Things. Very similar in the monsters and just how they operate. I can sew those two threads together. If I were to do Stranger Things, though, to
as like the show ended and they were
like
gonna
the
make
show
a new
ended and
one.
then let's make a new one. I would
Yeah.
treat it like Stephen King's It, where you age them up 30 years and have it take place in modern day and have it be about them as adults and coping with everything that's happened and maybe have their kids get involved. Or maybe just alleviate the kid and just have it be just inspired by, was it again, where it just focuses on them as adults. I think that'd be interesting. That could work.
Go completely just different direction, same universe. Like I would tell a story about like a soldier who got like locked out there and now he's having to survive and stuff like that.
That'd
And
be cool.
so I would just do a story based in that of like survival horror kind of style.
Right. Just retell Jumanji.
Well, not that. I was thinking.
I know. But
anyway, but yeah. So, are you guys going to be watching Stranger Things? Are you still a fan? Have you kind of been burned out on it? Like, what are your thoughts there? Dennis I'm not going to say this guy's last name right, but Villeneuve says Dune 2 is much better than the first film. Direct quote: I won't say the film is perfect, but I'm much more happy with part 2 than I was with part 1. I thought part 1 was great.
I thought it was good.
I had a really good time.
Yeah.
And I will say Dune, it's not like, oh my God, I got to watch this.
Right.
But at the same time, when I watched it, I had a really good time. You give me Dune 2, I will watch it and I will have a good time again, probably.
What the movie does well is it explains how the universe works by showing you how the universe works. And there aren't a lot of scenes of heavy exposition to explain what's going on.
Yeah,
like I like that. They just
you know what I'll probably do is I'll probably when Dune 2 comes out, I'll probably just do a
back to back,
like an all day back to back kind of thing and watch Dune 1 and Dune 2. That sounds like a good time.
Oh yeah,
but I haven't watched the first one since it came out.
I rewatched the first one a few months ago. Just it's good. It's refreshing movie. It doesn't feel like the corporate cookie cutter manufactured thing. It was good. I really enjoyed it. Again, I like how I don't know a whole lot about Dune. I know very basic universal knowledge
same
of
with
it.
me. Yeah.
But again, in coming from somebody who's creating a universe with a lot of lore, I do commend Dune on how it showed and told and showed. Like it built the universe without having to bog you down with tireless exposition.
Yeah, I've heard it's a very lore centric book. I've never read it, but yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Dune 2. The first one was definitely shut up and take my money.
Yeah. The what I'm actually looking forward to is seeing a navigator. For those who don't know the lore, like something happened in the past where like certain computers are outlawed, so humans. By ingesting, I guess, a lot of the spice, they become these like creatures that act as like the central computers to these ships. I'm actually currently writing about something very similar in Quantum, at least in looks. Yeah.
They made fun of it in recently in the new season of Futurama. Did you watch that?
So I started watching the new season of Futurama. Loved it, but I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, they do one where it's about it. They're making fun of Dune. They go into like Nibbler's litter box, and they like shrink down, so it's all like desert and stuff like that in there, and like and then there's like the special crystals which they breathe in, and that's the spice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Those worms are in it again that were in Fry that one time.
Nice. The space worms from eating the gas station.
I want those space worms, dude. They you have like regeneration powers,
right? And
you become smarter, stronger, and more agile and stuff like that. They're the best worms ever.
So true story, in Quantum, I have my version of those types of worms and the operational assistant that everybody gets. So everybody gets nanomachines and gets sort of wormish powers from Futurama.
They're like, oh, it's disgusting. I can't believe it. Oh. It's nauseating, man. Anyway, so we got the Game of the Year stuff happened, so I thought I'd just put up a couple of the things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna sneeze though.
Do it. Chew. Chew. They travel in pairs. Double blessing. Ooh, freezies. Yes.
It usually is with me.
Mm.
So best video game adaptation was The Last of Us. Obvious. I think that's probably the best video game adaptation ever.
Period.
I can't think of anything that
The Mario
that
movie was
surpasses
cute.
it.
The Mario
Mario
movie was
movie is
cute.
cute. The Witcher was good. Although that's a book adaptation. Trying to think what else. I don't know. I think we are starting to get, because like if you're our age, you just watched like every video game movie show attempt just suck ass,
Right.
and now we're like actually getting good ones.
Right. It only
So
took them 40 years. Come on.
I think part of that though is like The Last of Us lends itself to a series
Yeah.
better than, but I mean, although like you point out, Mario was good. I mean, you know,
Mario was a cute little movie. I had no objection. Mario, I thought it was just fine. Is my Nintendo Cinematic Universe better? Yes, but I enjoyed the product that I got.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I rewatched it recently, and I was like, yeah, it's a fun little. It's a kids movie.
It's a kids movie.
It's a kids movie, which you would expect, but it's a kids movie that you can have fun and sit down and enjoy.
Does it reach the level of Shrek where it's equally enjoyable to adults in a different way than the
children?
Doesn't
have enough.
It doesn't
have enough of those
that.
adult jokes. It doesn't have enough of those jokes that
those duality jokes, right?
Yeah.
So, but you know what? It's fine. Not every movie needs to be Shrek. It's just
the one kids show joke that I was always like, God damn, that's a fucking is it was from Animaniacs.
Oh, fingerprints.
Yeah, the fingerprints. Yeah, like yeah. For those of you who don't know, it was a kids show that was like when Cap and I were
right up here, Animaniacs. Got my figures.
Yeah. How old were we? We were probably like 13.
No, maybe? 9, 10 years old. Animaniacs came out.
Is it that young?
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so it's a show. It's kind of like it's Warner Brothers. These crazy characters. But anyway, one of the characters says like get fingerprints or something, and then she's holding Prince, the singer, and then someone goes, "No, I said fingerprints," and they look at each other, and she's like, "No," and then she throws them out like a window. That was the whole joke.
And people wonder why we are the way we are today.
Gosh, that was shocking though when you like.
It
went over my head.
Yeah, it went over my head.
I didn't get it. I just thought it was like, oh, because she had prints and he meant fingerprints, and that's the wrong kind of
right. Yeah, that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
So, in sort of related news, Mrs. Cat works at the happiest place on earth, and
you're talking about the naked guy.
Yes, and one of the attractions, the Animation Academy, this weekend recently shut down its library section. This is a library that was designed to look like Beast Castle. It was a pretty little section. It had this big mantle with the fireplace, and then it had the portrait that was digital, so it changed between the prince's mural to that of the Beast. It was cool. And then you can sit down at a little terminal, and you can answer questions, and it would tell you what Disney character you are based on how you answered. I get Syndrome every time, and I love that because Syndrome is one of my favorite like Pixar or whatever villains. But now Imagineers have a sense of humor, and in this library you have the books on the wall, and there are some questionable things written in just enough of an obscure language, like you would have to add an extra filter over your lens to see, oh, that's spelling F-U-C-K, Y-O-U. So apparently this library is just filled with things like that. And Mrs. Cap sent me a picture yesterday. I just didn't get a chance to send y'all on the group chat. But once the episode is over with, I'll send you the picture that she sent me of one of the books from inside the library. And with just a nudge of a closer look, you can see it clearly says "fuck you."
I thought you were going to talk about that guy who went into.
It's a Small World. Yes, Small World. Yeah. So we can talk about that too. So this happened a couple of weeks ago.
Was she around for that? Did
No,
she?
so she works on the other side of the park. She actually works on the
Okay.
California Adventure side. But yes, a few weeks ago, a gentleman probably hopped up on bath salts or something, decided to do. Now we've all thought of doing this. Lord knows I have 1,000 times, but this man actually did it. God bless him. He's a pioneer to all of us. Exited the boat of It's a Small World and proceeded to walk through the attraction. And he took off his clothes. And at one point, he was sitting at the Taj Mahal section. So he was sitting on the river that leads up to the Taj Mahal. He's sitting there chilling, and you can hear people talking to him like, "Bro, what are you doing? Get down here! What are you doing?" He just without a fucking the world. Now the thing about It's a Small World, and I'm sure they're going to change this now, is that it's one of the few attractions that has like minimal cameras, if at all, throughout the attraction. So it took some time for people to get the message, hey, there's a dude wandering around. Send somebody to go and nab him. So eventually it got to the point where he just stripped down to his nothing bits and was wading around the water.
They have to like walk him through the park like that. They, like,
yeah, so what they did, the videos are online. The funniest video is when it took 4 guys to haul him away. Now, each guy had a limb, and they just draped like a thermal blanket over him and just carted him away. And it was so funny because he just sprawled out like a Christmas goose. Yeah, they're just dragging him away. It's so funny.
Happiest place on earth.
Happiest place on earth. But, you know, hilariously, he was only charged with 2 misdemeanors. Now, granted, the biggest punishment is he'll never be able to go to Disneyland ever again. But, you know...
Yeah, how are you going to get one of those, what are they called? The pineapple float things?
Yeah, how are you going to get your Dole Whip now?
Yeah.
Bro, you fucked yourself over.
Those Dole Whip floats, man. They're so good. I feel like I could like stab someone to like get one, you know? So, I don't understand why I even like them that much.
Oh, they're delicious. Oh, so you can get them now with like a strawberry or like a raspberry twirl in them now.
Anyway, back to the Game of the Year thing. So Last of Us won Best Adaptation. Tears of the Kingdom won Best Action Adventure Game, and that's one of my favorite games. And then we were talking about this just before we came online.
Yep.
Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year. I found it funny that like what amused me about Dan's text, Dan, if you're watching, is he's like, yeah, I don't really like D&D or something like that. He goes, but this one Game of the Year, I should try it.
Right.
And he's like, I've heard that you know, something like that. And I was like, dude, it is just D&D. That's like all
D&D is. Right.
They took the 5e rules and they just built a game. They changed it a little bit, obviously, but like it's basically 5e. The only difference is the computer's doing what the DM does, and the computer's also it's giving you images instead of you imagining in it.
Right.
But it's exactly the same. It is a great game. Like I played it. I loved it. I would totally play it again.
So he was saying it's going to be cross-platform. Now, I don't have a next-gen system yet. I'm holding out for the exclusive Final Fantasy VII PS5 bundle, which I know is coming soon.
Yeah, well, I have it on. That's the other thing. I didn't know it was going cross-platform. It's built for PC. Yeah. I played it on PlayStation.
I was going to say I would play it on PC, 1,000%.
Well, but the thing is, I played it on my PlayStation. It was a very good game. I enjoyed it. I had no qualms, but it was a little bit to try and make it work.
Right.
Versus, I could see on the PC it would play a lot better. But even with that like slight issue, it's one of the best games I've ever played. Especially if you love D&D, it is exactly D&D. I mean, it's D&D down to the point where like you walk up to something and then someone's talking to you and it's like, do you want to roll a persuasion? And then you click yes, and then a dice comes up and it like
right.
And then, you see, and then it's like persuasion fail or persuasion success,
right?
And then that changes the course of the game.
See, I would love Quantum to work out like that eventually. Like in my head, I foresee it playing a lot like that. So maybe just for the sake of doing my research, once everybody collectively decides to play the thing, I will totally be down.
But you played 5e, you already know how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it works exactly like that.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, did you guys play Baldur's Gate? Would you play more of it? Uh, have you tried the multiplayer? Because that's the one thing I don't know if I really look. Okay, here's the thing. I think it's a weird group of our friends, this little group, to play it multiplayer because it's not like, hey, I'm running around pew 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 pew. It's a thinking man's game.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're following story. You're listening to people talk.
Right.
You're making decisions on how you want to respond.
Right.
Combat is turn based. You're like, okay, I'm going to use this spell this way.
Right.
And I don't know. I would totally try it with us, but I just think it's a weird game for me to play multiplayer. Most multiplayer games are fast paced in my mind. You know.
Right.
Anyway, what do you guys think of the? Was that your best game of the year? Do you guys have a different game in mind? Do you have one, Cap?
I haven't really playing anything.
Got it.
I'm writing.
I'm pretty sure it was last year anyway, or maybe even the year before. I lose track of time these days. But Elden Ring, that was up there for me. That game was that was like an experience. That to me, that's up there with like Half-Life. Yeah.
Oh, Half-Life.
Younger people don't know how good and influential and like what a moment Half-Life was. Halo is another one of those. Oh, have you been watching the Halo show?
Nah.
I haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, I heard the internet says it's woke, Frosty.
Well, yeah, but they say that about everything, so who cares? I've heard it's good.
It came out a while ago. I didn't have Paramount.
Well, the new season just happened.
Right, but it's normally on Paramount, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought I saw it was on like Prime or some shit.
I thought it was on Paramount, but I don't know.
Maybe we should sit down and watch an episode or two sometime. You know?
Yeah, we can put that on a Behold Nerds.
Yeah. All right. Oh, this is another thing I would like to do a Behold Nerds of, because I heard about it. I was like, oh, I should watch it, and then I didn't, because Peacock is something I didn't have. But like my sister's boyfriend's like, I got Peacock, and he lives with us now, so now we have Peacock. You know,
nice. So you have a buddy now.
I should say, like, he'll be watching this. What the? He's my buddy. It's just, I'm not. I meant as in he mostly is usually with my sister, so we sometimes walk by each other. That's the most and but anyway, but Twisted Metal has been renewed for season 2 on Peacock. And I saw, now that I got Peacock, it's like, oh yeah, Twisted Metal. I forgot that was a thing.
I forgot that.
I really want to watch that.
Isn't Anthony Mackie in that?
I think so. Yeah, like it looks dope as hell. Like I saw, like, because I don't know if he doesn't pay for the premium or something, but there's commercials on Peacock.
Yeah,
it's not too bad having commercials back in my life, by the way.
No, it feels
you take
normal,
a little break from what you're watching,
right? Just to savor it.
Yeah,
you can go. I'm going to top off my coffee.
Yeah, my brain starts wandering and thinking of other stuff.
Right.
But anyway, but when the commercials come on, this is how I found out about it. They're like, check out Twisted Metal. And I was like, oh, I forgot that was a thing. It looks cool as hell.
I forgot it was a thing. I remember hearing that Anthony Mackie was in it, and that was about the end of it. And I think when it came out, it's like, oh, coming soon to Paramount Plus. I'm like, I don't have that, but now I have it.
Well, it's on Peacock.
Peacock. Oh,
damn! I think Peacock might be free because it has commercials, so you could probably get it.
Right.
I'm gonna check it out. But it's been renewed for season 2. So anybody watching, have you seen Twisted Metal? Did you like it? Did you hate it?
Who is your character? Who is your Twisted Metal character?
I forget his name, but the guy that
Axel.
Had the big...
Yep, Axel. Yeah, I loved Axel. He is my favorite.
And then obviously Sweet Tooth is the one that everybody likes. I mean, Sweet Tooth in the later one was just because his truck turned into a mech. It was awesome.
Right.
He's such a dark, twisted character too.
I mean, but kind of all of them are. That's sort of the whole point.
They all are, yeah. Anyway, Mark Ruffalo says Marvel asked him not to comment on any plans for a Hulk movie. Direct quote: okay. Hopefully one day they'll work it out. I think it could be really cool. I 100% agree they should do a Hulk movie. Now, a lot of people didn't like Professor Hulk. I like Professor Hulk. I think do a Professor Hulk movie like the classic Professor Hulk, where he's using giant ass fucking guns and he's wearing like tailored clothes and shit like that.
Right.
And and do it like they've already set it up with the ship, and he's like, oh, I gotta go to Scar, and like, yeah, do it.
Right.
A lot of people want to prefer Savage Hulk, and I understand. To me, I've like anytime Hulk is in something, it's always Savage Hulk, and like they changed it to Earth Mightiest Heroes. I like that version of Hulk where it's like a merging of the two.
Yeah. Such a great
But
show.
I also like Professor Hulk a lot because when I got into comics, that was my Hulk, and I would love that. I think that would be dope. What are your thoughts?
I'd love to see a Maestro at some point.
Yeah,
That's my favorite version of Hulk. Is Maestro. I just love the fact that he's intelligent and the Hulk, and that's scary to me. It's like taking Professor Hulk but making him evil. He has that intelligence, but he's just
yeah. I liked Professor Hulk because it was sci-fi as well.
Yeah,
like he had like it was like he like you see videos like pictures. He's always got massive like giant, ridiculously huge guns, and he's this giant fucking hulking guy.
Yeah,
and then like he's part of this like agency and stuff like that, and they go around and I don't know. I thought it was a good time. I really enjoyed that Hulk.
That'd be cool. I mean, it's the MCU seems to be playing with alternates of characters instead of just going hard. We've already seen the Savage Hulk, and they're starting to dial back on that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we will see that eventually. That'd be cool. I do think he does deserve his own movie, and I think if they do it right, they should be able to pull it off. Because I know the Hulk is usually like a supporting character and everything because he's a hard character to pull off.
He is. I mean, the last two. I thought the second Hulk movie was pretty good overall. First one, I thought had aspects that were good.
You sort of have to capture the tragedy of the Hulk, and I think the second one captured it a little bit better than the first.
I think the first one was a darker film overall because like it was all about his father and stuff like that. And you remember like it wasn't. It was just it was too. That one, the problem was there wasn't enough Hulk in the Hulk, and then it happened at the end, and also he was fighting dogs and stuff like that. When the second one was cool. It was like classic, what you would expect. Like if you were to like go, okay, let's do an OG Hulk story. It's gonna be Thunderbolt Ross hunting the Hulk,
right?
And then him being like, oh, I gotta control the monster, and then like, the classic, what is it like? Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde versus the military Hulk,
right?
And then also like because Thunderbolt Ross, because that's always been Moby Dick, like Thunderbolt Ross has, like. So yeah, but I think a more modern one, like that would be cool.
That'd be cool.
I would like to see. I think we're gonna get it, but is Red Hulk?
Yeah.
I love Red Hulk. I think.
Oh, but
it's my favorite.
It's gonna be Harrison Ford as Red Hulk.
Yeah, he's my favorite. He's my favorite looking Hulk. I think Hulk always should have been red because red, rage, anger, all that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the Hulk would make the ultimate Red Lantern? You know that, like.
Oh yeah. So I was thinking about this: the Hulk with the Red Lantern ring versus Ben Grimm with the Green Lantern ring.
Oh, because of Will. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I was actually thinking about this the other day. It's like, Ben Grimm with the Green Lantern ring, who would be like a good pairing for that? And then you mentioned a Hulk with the Red Lantern. It's like, boom, perfect pairing.
Yeah, totally.
That'd be a good fight.
I never thought about that, about giving, I mean, it's crossover, but yeah, giving him that ring, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite, like, also anyone watching or anyone that will watch post, what is your, if you yourself were to don a lantern ring, and I mean, really think about this, because a lot of people go, oh, I'm green. Do you really have that kind of willpower? You know what I mean?
I am 8,000%. I am green, period.
You think you have that kind of willpower?
I am green, period. Break my will, bitch. I will scream at the universe until I bend it to my will. Fuck you. Unbreakable will. Green Lantern ring, 8,000%. What about you?
Okay.
You're Sapphire, aren't you? You're Sapphire.
You mean emotion?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. It annoys me that I'm that, but yeah, I would probably do that.
But that's fine.
I mean, actually, I would make a good Red Lantern too.
Little do our watchers know that beneath this humble veneer of Frosty boils a monster.
I am kind of a rage monster. So yeah, I would make a good Red Lantern. I'm gonna go with red.
But you know it's great though if by donning the Red Lantern ring you vomit up all of your yucky bits, so hopefully that'll fix your kidneys.
Oh yeah, I would. I mean, once I don the Red Lantern ring,
Yeah.
I would assume that most of the Lantern rings would fix me. The one I would want to be, and I desire to be, is blue.
Yeah.
Because I admire that one. But yeah, I would probably be either compassion or rage. I
Yeah.
know those two are kind of opposites of one another, but
beneath Frosty's veneer is the heart of a true human who feels.
I know. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Is what he's referring to.
Yes,
and so like that's why it's going to be either compassion or rage because it's like
both are very intense.
Everything is I'm Fellow Jeff is the same way. It's because we're both artists, and I think artists tend to be like that.
Right.
But anyway,
I am Will. Period.
All right.
But what kind of so what kind of constructs would you do? Like what would be Frosty's? Like what would you manifest? I would assume that Brimstone would be like your deck star, just meow.
Yeah, I would definitely make giant cats.
That'd be awesome.
Giant cats, swords, mechs. I guess it would be nerdy stuff.
Right.
I would make like you know, I would be like they'd be like someone pull out a sword and I would be like wham. You know, all of a sudden I got a lightsaber.
But it's like like all red lanternish, so it's like all dripping and shit. That'd be cool.
Yeah, or like if let's say you're like a Batman style guy and I gotta like get you to like the moon or something. Like I wouldn't just bubble us. I would be like, and then you're like, and it would be the DeLorean,
right?
And I'd be like, get in, and like, you know what I mean? Like it would be stuff like that.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, because why not? I mean,
right.
What kind of constructs would you make?
See,
probably a lot of sci-fi stuff. Like,
yeah. So I like mechs and just like sci-fi guns. Hell, like a light construct, sort of like power suit type deal would be great.
See, like, yeah, you would make like some kind of crazy power suit. I'd show up in the power loader.
Right. Both are awesome. Anyways, what else we
got? Okay, so this is the last thing. I only included this because I was wondering if you had these or were aware of these. Monster in my pocket. Do you remember
that? I definitely have a monster in my pocket.
Yeah, they were like little rubber monsters, and
I had exactly one of them, and he was my chief engineer on my Kinect spaceship. He was friends with a Lego guy named Mike.
They were so when we were young. These were briefly popular. They were just little rubber toy monsters,
and they were squishy.
And they had like hundreds of them, and you would trade them and stuff like that. I was selling them in school for $0.25 each. And then they were supposed to be like somewhere more rare and more valuable.
Right.
It was one of those things. But anyway, a live action Monster in My Pocket series is in the works, so that franchise has been picked up again.
Okay.
I actually do think that could be like a fun little series if you did it like tiny little monsters and stuff like that.
Well, let's take the Garbage Pail Kids movie and then tell it in the style of Indian in the Cupboard. Yes.
The Garbage Pail Kids movie is so bad. It is just the worst movie I've ever seen.
Okay, no. You take the Garbage Pail Kids, but tell it like Small Soldiers. There we go. Mwah.
I can't say it's the worst I've ever seen, but it is up there. That is such a bad movie. One day we'll put that as a Beholdeners just to get some people to suffer through. Anyway, do you have anything else to add to nerdy news?
Yeah. So it's actually news of this came out a couple weeks ago, but we were on hiatus. So apparently Daisy Ridley, aka Ray Palpatine, is in talks for a Ray movie. She hasn't read the script, but she did read a synopsis of the story, and she said that she is very excited. My reaction is tepid at best. I'm kind of over it, but for the Ray Palpatine fans in the audience, go team. Apparently, Dave Filoni has been slated to be the new Kathleen Kennedy. People are complaining that he is going to be more woke and blah, 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 blah. But if you look at his works, he was doing Clone Wars long before the internet rabble, and Clone Wars is essentially an Ahsoka story. So, and same thing with Rebels. And Rebels was a good show. I'm not sure if you watched too much of Star Wars Rebels.
Was a good show. I will fucking defend that show. Like,
right.
No, like, people are bitching about it, but I'm sorry, it was good Star Wars. It just was. It wasn't as good as, in my opinion, as The Mandalorian, but it was great. I had a really good time watching that show.
Right.
And I guess what I most enjoyed about it was the discussion on how the Force works. I love how. I mean, I know people hate or some people dislike how the Force works in Ahsoka versus how they thought it worked. Again, if you watch our last episode, I was talking about how that's how George Lucas always intended for it to work. So it does follow the original idea, but I enjoyed that happening though. You know what I mean? Like people being like, oh, I think it should work this way. And I'm like, well, this. And then you have these discussions, and that's where all the fun comes in. You know?
Right.
Yeah, as long as it's done respectfully. I don't like it when people start getting like, oh, fuck you.
Right.
As soon as someone starts going ad hominem, it's like, why are we even doing this? Like,
right. Just make animal noises.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought I'm not aware of Rebels. I didn't watch it.
Rebels was good. I didn't finish Rebels. I just sort of my mind drifted to something else.
Yeah.
But from what I saw,
Ahsoka is essentially a continuation of that, as far as I can tell.
Right.
And I really enjoyed Ahsoka. I really thought that, and it was fun because there was like it added more magic to Star Wars. You had like zombie stormtroopers and shit like that.
Right.
Everyone was saying like why didn't the stormtroopers shoot Ahsoka? Because Ahsoka's fighting this one girl with like a magic green flame blade. And then they're like, oh, why didn't the storm, because there are stormtroopers all around, why didn't they shoot Ahsoka? And I was like, are you kidding me? They would 100% kill the girl that's on their side because they can't hit shit.
And kill each other on the other side. Like,
yeah, and now they're zombie versions of themselves. I doubt that's improving their aim in any way, shape, or form.
Right. They're the ninjas that will quietly sit and watch the main fight happen.
Yeah, just accept it, okay?
Right.
Like,
that's fine. That's acceptable.
Anyway.
So I'm not sure if you're excited for a Ray movie. I don't care.
Look, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with a Ray movie. If the movie's good, then it's going to be awesome.
Right.
If it's bad, it's going to be bad.
Right.
The previous movies haven't been good. But that doesn't mean you couldn't take that character, take that actress,
and do something better with it.
Good.
Right.
Yeah. So if it's good, then great. I'll be happy. If it's not, it's not. I mean, so what?
I will believe.
Not everything hits. So that's fine.
Star Wars exists in my head.
I know you've said it before.
I know, and
I just think that you're ignoring the fact that we've got good Star Wars.
I'm not. No. We do have good Star Wars. It's just I don't care anymore. Just my brain just.
I don't know what to tell you, man. If you can't enjoy good Star Wars, then I'm sad for you.
My brain is just detaching. It's just, you know what? I sat and rewatched A New Hope the other day before Lucas came out with the special editions and started messing with it. God, the scene with Jabba the Hutt where Han Solo walks around Jabba, and originally there's a stand-in with a human, and it's like, well, how do you fix this? I don't know, have him step on his tail. Like, it's so jarring and so out of place, because you're essentially like kicking a mob boss in the nuts. Boba Fett would have lit him on fire. That's stupid. Like,
no, I get you.
The weird.
All I'm saying though is I feel sad. It makes me sad that you can't enjoy good Star Wars. And like that makes me sad.
I can enjoy a good Star. Mandalorian was good. Andor was fantastic. Just there are, again, Star Wars is like a pizza, as you so eloquently phrased. It's here's a pizza. Oh, I don't like a lot of these toppings. I'm gonna have to pick off a lot of it to get
I
to the
know, but
parts that I do enjoy.
but you're saying I'm done with it, and I'm saying, but we're getting some good stuff now.
Uh, I
That and it makes me sad that you don't want to enjoy it.
I know. I'm trying. I'm really trying. It's just
Like, the best part is enjoying it with another nerd. Like that's where
I
it gets
know,
fun.
I know, but goddamn, I'm writing my own universe to contend with all this rabble, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Uh, it's
I can be excited for more than one thing.
uh, but
All right, we'll
yeah,
drop it. But anyway, I hope you do get the feel for it again. I hope it bites you again. I hope this is good, because if it's good, then I'll be that would be awesome. I'd love for more good Star Wars. I thought Ahsoka was very good, and it was exactly right because it was its own thing. It didn't really. Yes, it sort of ties because obviously she's Anakin's apprentice,
right,
but it's not a Skywalker story.
right.
And that's what I love.
Which is fine. Like it's
Well, that's what I think you need to do. I think that's why Star Wars works. But you have to go Mandalorian, Ahsoka, these other things,
right.
like do a series. And Andor was like the ultra realism.
Hmm.
Do a thing where the main character is a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Like something. Yeah, like you could do so much interesting stuff in that universe. Anyway,
That's why I liked Andor, because it told it from the ground level. Like it was almost telling it from the level of the stormtrooper, because then you see the repercussions of like the bigger things that are going on in the background.
Yeah, Ahsoka was definitely much more sci-fi, but sci fantasy. I mean,
Yeah.
but I loved that final duel where the Ahsoka's, I can't remember her name, but the witch girl.
Yeah.
That was so good. I got into a big debate because it seems like people are just hating on this stuff, but stage combat is something I know quite a little bit about, and that was solid. The shot was wide, so you could see both people clearly. They weren't doing jump cuts. They were just letting the stuntmen go, or stunt people go, and it looked like a good battle. They didn't up close, and then you could see it was the actors, but then they went wide again to let them do their stuff. And I think there was 3 cuts in it in total. It was excellent. Oh, and they didn't do any speed ramping or any of that bullshit either.
Nice.
So it was just a solid thing. Yeah. Anywho, let's see what else we got on the list. We talked about it briefly last week, but have you seen the rest of Loki yet?
No, the youngling watched it for me.
I know, and watched it for you.
Yes.
You should watch it. It was really good. It was a very solid series. I've been waiting to get your opinion on that one. I really liked it. What's it? I guess they have a similar sounding name to us. Pitch Meeting. They just came out with their Pitch Meeting Loki thing.
Yeah.
It's hilarious if you haven't seen it.
I love the Pitch Meeting.
Yeah, but it's probably out of the MCU shows one of their better shows. This one ended just beautifully. It was hilarious. Highly recommend. You should watch the rest of it, dude. You'll enjoy it. Trust me.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to see Owen Wilson on a jet ski. I mean, tell me you didn't want to see that.
Is he jumping the shark?
It's just like there. You see him at one point, and he's just like, "Yeah." And you're just like, "Yeah, that's perfect." Like that's exactly what I wanted to see. So yeah.
Is he shirtless, Owen Wilson?
I don't think so. I can't remember.
Rabble.
But it was great. It was great. You really should watch this show. I highly, highly recommend it. It was one of their better ones. Anyway, so okay, let's do Battle Nerds then, since we don't really have any reviews. Actually, we do have a review. Let's do Behold Nerds. So Behold Nerds is our weekly kind of book club. Well, usually we review movies, but this time we are going to take a dive into fellow nerd, supporter of the show, friend of the show, If you follow me on Twitter or follow us on Twitter, you'll see us talking to him all the time because we always have contrasting opinions. Super Killers. This is a book we've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I'm going to go ahead and post a link to where you can read it, as well as a link to his Twitter handle, where you can find links to his stuff there. So Super Killers, I was thinking about it because he's going to be on the show sometime. So let's review chapter 1.
Yep.
And then when he's on the show, we can go over chapter 2, chapter 3, or whichever ones. Chapter 3 just dropped. I know he wants to know our opinions, but I think I don't want to do spoilers and stuff. But,
So I've read chapter 1.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we'll do chapter 1.
All right.
So, yeah. What did you? I'm gonna go ahead and pull up some links and post them in the chat. Cap, since this is your first kind of dip into Super Killers, tell us what you thought.
So I enjoyed it. It's done in kind of an anime style. We have our main character who I think looks cool. He has like 2 different colored eyes. I think he has the ability to like summon a blade or something out of his skin, almost like Wolverine.
So his powers. So I've talked to at Real Super Killers. That's the person who created the comic. The character draws heavily inspired by
there's a it almost reminds me of what's that anime, Parasite, something where he sort of like fleshy blades.
Nope, T-1000.
Okay,
he's metal.
Okay,
so that's why he can draw blades, but he can cover himself in metal as well.
Okay,
so he was inspired by the T-1000. He can cover himself in a liquid metal. He can create blades of liquid metal. So go on.
No, so I thought it was cool. Let's see here. We get a brief introduction to this character, and we get a kind of a flashback to when he was a kid. Didn't quite go over his true origins, but he's referred to as like Experiment B13, I believe is what they refer to him as. Here,
they also
you tag in.
Okay, well, so here's what I've had a lot of conversations with Real Super Killers. We'll have him on the show sometime so he can talk about it himself. So he got tired of, and he actually mentioned this in the chat in last week's episode. He didn't like the Suicide Squad because they were going around going, "Oh, we're bad guys," but they were just saying that. They weren't actually doing anything that makes them bad guys.
They were telling, not doing.
Yeah, and so he wanted to see an actual bad guy be the lead character. So in that desire, he created this book, Super Killers.
So as far as a bad guy, I don't think we saw anything. He seems to be working under like a crime lord or something. They're trying to figure out. There's a conversation where he's trying to figure out who to extort for like a political campaign or something.
Oh yeah, so he's a crime lord character that were introduced in chapter 1. Someone comes in, and you can see he has no qualms in hurting people. Someone comes in, he immediately slices off their head, no question.
Right. But discovers the robot eye.
Yeah, he discovers a robot eye. So the main character's name is Jack. But yeah, so he's a straight cold killer. The book jumps between when he was a kid and where he is now. And yeah, so he's this evil character. You're not necessarily supposed to think like, oh, he's a good guy or like that, but because this is a book where you have an evil character as the lead, which is unique.
Right.
I know Real Super Killers is a fan of what's the character's name from One Punch Man season 2? Gara. Gara is like a character who loves villains and stuff like that, and so he admires that guy. So it's definitely in that realm. The comic, I thought, looks great. Like you said, it's in an anime style. It looks gorgeous. It's black and white, but despite being black, I find a lot of black and white comics you kind of lose the you don't have focal points. You're not sure where to
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
That's not like that here. You know exactly what you're seeing, where you're looking,
Mm-hmm.
in every shot.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks gorgeous. It's a really interesting concept. I think the first book really sucks you in because, like you said, it sets up this world where, like, okay, so he's some kind of mob character.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm trying to figure out
he,
which candidate to extort. Doing Oppo
yeah,
research, and then
and then he's working with these other people, and they also have powers.
yeah.
One of them has like a lightning power. The other one's like, I think, flame or something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so and someone sends someone after him, and you're like, why is that the case?
Right.
So it builds the mystery, it builds the universe, and it sucks you in.
Right. Let's see here. We see him, Jack. Early on, he's confronted by just a much bigger dude, holds him at gunpoint, and his response is pretty cavalier. Oh, my goodness gracious, I'm so burdened. Please shoot me, blah, 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 blah. And you get a quick shink, bang, bang, and all of a sudden you see the dude's arm on the ground. Kind of reminded me of Star Wars just a little bit, where you get that quick and, but done from the bad guy's point of view. So I thought that was a nice little zest from the Star Wars fan. I really enjoyed it. The second one is out also, right?
So chapters
Chapter
2 and
2.
3 are both out. Chapter 2 is I read chapter 2. We'll talk about that when we have him on the show. And he's asked for my opinion of chapter 3, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I will definitely do. And then apparently there's going to be a big reveal soon in the future, which he's really excited about. It's a great series. Since I've been talking to him, I mean, we get a lot of you got a lot of content to read. So yeah, highly recommend picking it up. To just shut up, take my money from me.
Yeah, shut up and take my money. It was good.
The link to the webtoon is there. You can read the all chapters
there.
Yeah. And you can also what do you call it? Find it. That's his Twitter handle at Real Superkillers. So you can find him there and follow him on Twitter, which I recommend doing. And you can also get the links there to his various things. But as far as the chapter 1, like I said, I think it does an excellent job of sucking you into that world.
Yeah.
Did it end where you meet the girl as well?
The only girl that was shown was the one in the flashback. Who was Nosh's one of the milkshakes.
She shows up in the second chapter, I think. And it's an awesome fight between her and she's known as the unkillable assassin.
Cool.
So yeah, it's pretty interesting. It was funny. So we had Rob on the show before, right? And Rob does a comic book, White Owl. So Rob has White Owl. If you've watched our previous shows, he's also friends with Real Superkillers. And so the three of us were talking once, like what would happen if our three protagonists, fictional, Rob with White Owl,
Vincent Storm,
with Vincent Storm for me versus Jack. They both decided that Vincent wins, and I was surprised by that because
Vincent does seem like my money would go on Vincent just from what I know of the character.
He's like, yeah, okay, so he like because what's his, Real Supergirls pointed out that scene from what do you call it, Kill Bill 2, where he's like and then like now he's gonna die when it takes 5 steps.
Right.
He's like, why wouldn't he just do that? And I was like, he actually does have a move like that. And then it's the dim mock where you punch someone in the chest, but their heart explodes inside.
Yeah.
There's like no visible damage.
Right.
And then he was like, exactly. And I was like, but the thing about their characters though, their characters can shrug off being hit by helicopters. Vincent, if he got hit by a helicopter, would just be a red smear. You know what I mean? He can't do anything.
Oh, see, but that's what's great about characters, though. Like good ones, is that they can't all be Superman. Let them have their flaws. Like yesterday, it's the classic paper rock scissor. You can be really good at doing one thing, but then oh shit, there's this dumb thing, and just you're a smear.
Yeah.
So I like that, and that doesn't mean that the character isn't powerful by any stretch. It just means oh shit, like
It's rock paper scissors.
Right.
That's a good way to put it. Like yeah, like and I do think that's a good when I think that's what good writers do. Oh, I gotta ask your opinion about this. I should have put it in nerdy news. Because you're a writer as well. So this comic book store owner was all over Twitter.
Oh, Super Killer is here. Hey, buddy.
Hey, we've been talking about your book.
Yes.
We I think you're familiar with our rating system.
Shut up and take
my money. Yeah. You got to do what you got to do, and if it's not good, it's death by snoo snoo. But we both give it a shut up and take my money.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I just saying?
Something about your mom.
That is not true. Rewind the tape.
Playback. Playback. Anyways, something about writers. You wanted to ask my opinion on a thing.
Oh yeah. So it's all over Twitter at the moment, or it was. This comic book owner, he was talking about comic books in his store, and he was like, "Yeah, all these writers they're writing Captain America, but they're writing themselves rather than writing the character Captain America."
Right.
And he said that's why it's all shit now. And he's all getting mad. He's like, "It's all fucking shit," you know. And I watched the clip, and I was like, I agree. Like, novice writers write themselves,
right?
Which is something I did,
right?
But I was like, a skilled writer writes a character,
right?
And so I agree with this guy. But so many people on Twitter were like, "This guy's an idiot. That's a way to not get with the times and all this kind of stuff." And I was just like, no, you're wrong. Like, novice writers write themselves.
So in my universe, because the whole premise is you write, you are yourself in this universe, but you're also sort of writing.
You're creating a universe so that people can do what's fun, write themselves. Right. But if you're writing fiction,
right,
like,
and you write yourself, and that's
like, you should write Captain America as Captain America. Right. It's fine to do an adaptation or a different version of Captain America. I don't really have a problem with that. But if you're writing the main universe Captain America, write him, not you.
Well, that's sort of what's become of things nowadays, and and I know this is we're not gonna get into the deeper conversation, but that's why it feels like characters are kind of flat nowadays. It just feels like, oh, let's make them quote unquote woke and just piss everybody off, and it's not about telling the story. It's about portraying a particular message in a character without necessarily putting the story first, if that makes any sense. That's sort of how I see a lot of things nowadays.
Anytime someone starts going with the whole messages thing, I think it's always been there. Like, if you can look at all like take comics, putting political opinions,
of course, it's everywhere.
Social opinions,
of course,
it's always been in the comics. Like,
it's been in everything. It's literally been in everything. It's just you know how when you try to trick your dog into taking its medication by wrapping it up in like a piece of bologna, like, I don't want to taste the medication. Just wrap it in the bologna.
Do you remember back in the 80s, after every show we had to have like that,
the PSA?
Yeah,
because they had to take the toy commercial and make it meaningful. So
yeah, well, it's the only way we were allowed to have content like that. Same, I agree with my guy. My characters are nothing like me. You can't make any type of world if everyone is just like,
right. Right, exactly.
You summed it up. Yeah, like, oh man, I wish you were here during the conversation about your book. I mean, just to sum it up real fast, like, and I think I got it right. We were saying that you created this because you watched Suicide Squad. You wanted an actual villain as the lead. We reviewed chapter 1, by the way. and so we kind of gave away like the plot of chapter 1, you know. But anyway, we talked about Cap's only read chapter 1 so far, but I mean, you loved it, right?
No, I loved it. But you know what I love about just hearing this in general is that you saw a thing, a type of media. In this case, it was Suicide Squad, and you're like, huh. They're supposed to be the bad guys, but they don't feel like bad guys. I feel like I can do that a lot better. And I feel like you did. And what you did is you created your own universe, but still inspired by, you can see the inspiration from things. And I admire that because I'm a creator too.
Yeah, and I got it right that Jack, you took inspiration from the T-1000, right? With his like metallic kind of powers and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, like, even now with what I'm writing, it's so what caused me to what sent me down my path was how angry I got with Star Wars and just how they can do that to certain characters. It's just those aren't the characters. You're projecting an agenda onto these characters, and you're not treating them respectfully in the way that the lore already exists. Why poo-poo them? But anyways, oh yeah, T-1000 and demeanor and powers. Yeah, I really enjoyed the I've only read the first issue. I loved it. I like the character design. It was good.
You know, this is a little jump in logic, but I have to share this with you, Cap. So I've always had this short film idea in my head, but it would only be funny to like a small group of people.
Is this the Ladybugs?
No. Do you remember when we worked at where we worked together?
Yes.
Okay. So Cap and I used to work a retail job together. He worked on one side of it. I worked on another side of it.
That's where we met.
Yeah. But in order to when you were dealing with customers at the register, you were supposed to give them these like rewards program things. And you had to do this, and you had to get so many. And if you didn't get so many, we were in trouble. So we were very aggressive with these programs. And in my head, I've always wanted to do this, like make a short movie where it's like someone's like, "Do you want a rewards thing?" And they're like, "No." And then, "Are you sure you can do this?" And they're like, "No." And then you just keep offering it to them, and then they're like running away. They get in the car and they're driving. They're looking back, and then Terminator style. It's like, yeah, a guy wearing like the uniform, just like wait, boom, grabs it. You sure you don't want to join our rewards program?
So I actually have a whole other that retail experience, and I actually through my scribbles I found I actually started to storyboard it. I remember Sean.
Yeah, I don't want to pick on anybody.
No. But it was going to.
His name wasn't Sean. It was Mr. S.
Mr. S, who's probably building the space weapon as we speak. It's centered around him and what would happen if just a catastrophe happened at where we used to work, and how his serendipitous Forrest Gump nature would just somehow survive the apocalypse at the retailer. I started storyboarding it. But anyways, that was funny. Anyways, back to Super Killers.
Where were we going? I don't even know anymore.
I don't know.
Let's jump into
we had Pee-wee's Big Adventure too.
Well, yeah, I didn't watch it yet, so right. I was gonna do. I didn't know if you got my message. I said we'll just do.
All right.
Real Super Killers this week. We'll do Pee-wee next week.
Yeah.
Although we may want to do Rob's book next week because we're kind of trying to catch up.
Okay.
And Rob's chapter 2 is out. Do you want to do that as next week's poll?
Yeah, we can do that too.
Okay. So I think I'll have to talk to Rob. I got the early edition, so I can share with you.
All right.
But I don't know if it's changed since. But let's just read the early edition.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Rob, if you're watching, we'll be doing your comic next week. Like I said, follow friend of the show at Real Super Killers. Read his book. It is awesome. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. If you wanted to see something dark that where an actual villain isn't lead.
So
you know what always makes
so
me think
hold
of
on
is,
really quick. Super Killer, are you both the writer and the artist, or does he do everything by himself, or does he have like a?
I think I'd never asked. I'm pretty sure you hire an artist, right? Or yeah, let us know, and we'll have you on the show. By the way, whenever you want, you can join us on the show.
Yeah, please.
You can do the whole thing if you can do a part of it. Just let us know. But oh god, where was my brain? I don't even know. Well, anyway, so we'll do Rob's book next week, writer and designs.
Right, writer and design. Cool, nice.
Also choreography. Yeah,
Also choreography.
I always like doing choreography. Hey, you know how we were talking, Real Super Killers were like, what is Vincent's style? And I said it's hard to explain because so there was a thing on Twitter. It was like you can put in like what clip represents your character's like martial arts style, and I couldn't put Vincent's because he's so varied. But the best way I can think of him, because he uses it's not as big because it's not anime style, but is oh god, what's his name? Siegfried from Soul Calibur. That kind of using a big blade, but like almost like if you combine that with Spider-Man because he's got precog. Anyway, that's going off on a tangent. Follow us on Twitter. Talk to us on Twitter. Like we talk about this shit all the time. It's honestly a lot of fun. We get into really, really long conversations. We'd love to hear from you.
I'll throw my fictional character in the mix, but that's a different monster.
All right, well, let's jump into Battle Nerds.
Battle Nerds, yes. So
all right, so last week we had well, go ahead, explain Battle Nerds.
All right, so Battle Nerds, this is our weekly segment where we random roll from a dwindling list of 100 worthy combatants, and we pit them against each other in Mortal Kombat. Last week we had Mario.
Immoral Wombat. I heard someone do a thing of it. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to play a Moral Wombat." Now I just in my head, anytime someone says Mortal Kombat, Immoral Wombat. You know what? To this day, that song still fucking hits.
It's still
you hear that and you're just like, yeah.
Oh, you get amped up. If you go play like laser tag or anything, they'll crank that up. You're right, it hits every single time. The last time I heard it, I took the squirt to go play laser tag, and you hear the and oh my god, you just started it, and then fight and just beep, 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 like John Wick, the entire arena. Like, hearing that song while I play laser tag turns me into John Wick, period. Like, period.
Well, anyway, we take characters, we pit them
against each other. Last week, Frosty had Mario. I had Captain America. Didn't get any votes on Facebook, but hopefully Twitter.
Votes on Twitter. A couple of people messaged me. It was a tie on Twitter, but with the messages, Captain America came out on top.
Right.
So you guys decided that Captain America defeats. Yeah, well, specifically, you had Captain America wielding Mjolnir from the MCU.
Well, with the potential, but I still think with the shield alone, he would be able to diffuse Mario's power. But either way,
Mario. So Mario is now off the list. I think we are down to 28 combatants, including the ones going up against each other today. I got Godzilla.
Yes.
You got Terminator. Last time we had Terminator, the T-800 Model 101. Last time I had him, I actually successfully argued how he would defeat Darkseid.
Okay, get ready for similar argument today because T-800 gets to go up against Godzilla.
I got Godzilla. Which version of Godzilla am I going with? I'll go with the recent American Godzilla movies.
The Matthew Broderick?
No, I'm going to go with classic. No, not that one. No, definitely not. I'm going to go with classic Godzilla. Back with like when I was a kid.
Okay.
Watching Son of Godzilla, Godzilla versus Mothra, shit like that. I want that one.
Okay. So
guy in a rubber suit Godzilla.
Right. So, okay. How does the T-800 Model 101...
Well, I want to throw down real fast.
Okay,
so Godzilla, powers and abilities include flight. In the comics, I know I'm not necessarily going with this version one, but he matched Thor in strength. He's got nigh invulnerability. He knows judo somehow. He's kind of like an MMA guy. He goes around like challenging other monsters.
Right.
He's got his famous nuclear breath.
Or atomic breath.
He's sometimes tied to lightning powers, and on occasion he's had laser eyes too.
He's gone toe to toe with Superman.
Yeah, well, he's recently as well. He fought Superman. But there was also a comic where he went to hell that was really cool.
And he fought his way through hell.
Godzilla Goes to Hell was cool. Nice. Really recommend it. So yeah, he's a good contender. He's a skilled combatant, and he's a giant nuclear breathing sea dragon. Went to hell.
Okay. So how does the Terminator defeat such a worthy foe? I'll tell you this. In order to understand Godzilla, we must understand Godzilla's origins. And you can trace Godzilla's origins to that of the atomic testing within World War II. Now, I think he was originally like an iguana off of like the Galapagos Islands or something, and he just got infected with this radiation. So you could conceivably argue that the dropping of the atomic bombs, you could equate that to some sort of, let's call it Judgment Day.
Yeah, Godzilla is their reaction. He's supposed to be that. He's a representation.
Right, he's a representation of what was effectively the closest thing humanity has seen to a judgment.
Yeah, I agree. I see the connection. I think so. I am intrigued. Go on.
So if it wasn't for this Judgment Day from happening, there would be no Godzilla. So, ergo, the T-800 Model 101. What led to the dropping of the atomic bomb and all this testing? Well, we can thank World War II for that. What happened in World War II? A certain failed art student got a little cranky, wrote a book, and decided to commit genocide on a bunch of innocent people. Ergo, what I propose the T-800 Model 101 does is to prevent Godzilla from even existing and preventing Judgment Day, he has to go back and murder Hitler as a child. Thus preventing any atomic testing that would lead to the birth of Godzilla. It is true Terminator, cause and effect.
Okay, so you're using time travel to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Oh, there's this giant scary thing that's a result of Judgment Day. Let's go back and prevent Judgment Day from happening. Ergo, that is what
Hang the fuck on. If we're following Terminator rules for years in the Terminator to send back to stop to kill Hitler or whatever, thus undoing Godzilla, then Godzilla gets to get someone that goes back in time to protect him. So the question is who should go back in time to protect Godzilla?
Rodan. Have it be Rodan.
Well, according to your story, he's got to protect Hitler. This gets really dark.
I mean, even if you want to scale it back, I mean, the whole premise is having to prevent Judgment Day. So pick any type of character. It's just preventing... Yeah, hell, go and murder Oppenheimer or fucking Einstein.
He sends back Jet Jaguar. is that one run that looks like Jack Nicholson kind of,
right?
And he grows big. Yeah, that guy. He sends that guy. You know what I thought you were gonna do? I thought you were gonna have the Terminator piloting that
Mechagodzilla. No, that's not fun.
Well, I don't know if you know, Mechagodzilla is pretty awesome. He pilot this like flying ship that controls Mechagodzilla.
Right, so
and he'd be like in the ship being like, "No, go Mechagodzilla."
Right. So I can see that being the case. I didn't want to lead with that because I wanted to throw out the time travel shit first and sort of like pave it down because I knew you'd have to pick a herald to come back. Therefore, that's when Terminator using his Terminator powers would summon Mechagodzilla.
Okay, yeah. And then the Jet Jaguar thing would grow, and then it would come down to Jet Jaguar fighting.
Right, in true kaiju fashion, because that's how it has to go down.
Do that because you're going back to where before Mechagodzilla existed.
Causality loop. That's true. So
right.
you have to pick a human, or you said Jaguar to go back.
That's not fair. I'd have to pick like, oh, the chick that can be like Naya, Naya, and then she like summons the giant gorilla thing. That chick.
Actually,
She was in
you
one
know
of
what
the
you
guys.
could do is to protect Godzilla. Mothra appears because Mothra is the protector of the Earth.
Well, not yeah, but
No, but Mothra predates Godzilla. So when the Terminator
well,
shows
that's why
up,
I'm picking things that do. That's why I'm
right?
saying like, but you said send back as well.
I
So
mean, if you
Godzilla,
choose to send somebody back,
but it gets dark because you went Hitler. So now
well, of
we're
course,
protecting
because I mean,
Hitler.
why not? Of course, I'm going to
No,
go
because
kill
they get
Hitler.
so dark. Like then I have to be protecting Hitler, and that makes me a horrible person. Did you ever see this? Like, there's this skit where this person, like this time traveler, shows up, and he's like, I did it, and he's like, what? And he's like, I stopped, like, and he said some name, and then he was like, who's that? And he's like, oh, of course you don't know. He was this person. He killed like 1,000 Jewish people. He was this horrible monster. History's hated him, and I killed him. And then he was like, you mean Adolf Hitler? And he was like, who's Adolf Hitler? And he's like, oh, buddy.
Oh.
Because he stopped that guy, so then Adolf was created. But anyway, I don't know. I think if you're using time travel, it's fair that regardless of who I'm protecting, it's fair I get my own time traveler.
Right.
If I had to pick a time traveler to defeat the Terminator, and I have to pick a human, and it has to be from the Godzilla universe, I will pick that girl that dances and summons the giant gorilla. So now you have to fight a giant gorilla. And you're Terminator.
Right. All I'm saying is that a vote for Godzilla is a vote for Hitler.
All right, I think we end. So, who do you think won the debate, or who do you think wins the matchup?
All
Godzilla.
Terminator has to do is prevent Judgment Day, therefore preventing Godzilla.
I'll give it to it. Super clever. But like I said, if we're going down that rabbit hole, then I will send my girl back in time, who summons a giant gorilla that goes flunk. The Terminator just a flat piece of metal. And then if it was actually Godzilla versus Terminator, yeah, I just step on him.
I mean, if that was the case, then without the time travel and everything, then it would definitely boil down to Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla, and just who'd be able to
go Mechagodzilla. He'd be in the jet. I'm telling you.
Yes.
That probably looked horrible me doing that. So it's gonna fucking steal that clip.
For those watching or will, please screen cap that and make a hilarious meme out of it.
So go on to Twitter. Let us know who you thought won. We'll have a poll up. I always mean to do it right after the show, and then it ends up being later that night while I'm about to play D&D.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, shit. Then I can do it.
I know that we have some Godzilla fans on our page, so I'm already leaning towards Godzilla, but I think I came up with a worthy enough argument.
No, it was good. It was good. Let's roll for next week. You got to be under a 28.
What should I roll?
I just do a D100 until I get under a 28.
All right.
There we go.
All right, hold on. No.
So we started with a list of 100 combatants. We're down to 28. Based on how you guys vote, one day we'll arrive at the Pitch Nerds champion. Just so people are aware, the rankings in first place with 4 wins is a 3-way tie with Rogue, Spock, and Wolverine. In second place with today's win is Captain America with 3 wins. And then in third place with 2 wins is Indiana Jones, Bending Rodriguez, Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, and just the TMNT. Generally, we do them as like you pick one or another. Oh, and then also Judge Dredd.
I rolled a 24.
All right. So you got this is an interesting match.
Yes.
You got Gizmo from
Oh, okay.
the Gremlins series,
Gremlins. Nice. Fun
going
pitches,
up
by the way.
against very powerful spellcaster Zatanna.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be an interesting match.
Okay.
I
You know what?
personally always enjoy having the underdog character because you get to like come up with stuff.
Okay. I have the loose framework.
I already know what you're gonna do: splash water, eat food, wait, gremlin invasion.
But in order for this fight to work, one must truly understand what the gremlins are, and what it means to the mythos. Is the gremlins are themselves a force of nature of chaos. Like, they're the reasons why things go awry in our universe. So it explains the movie.
Are you gonna pull that chaos god guy into play? What's his name? The little kid, you know what I'm talking about?
Clarion, maybe.
Yeah.
I might. But anyways, yes, that'll
well,
be.
anyway, tune in next week. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Okay.
And we will debate that, and one will come out on top. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes or so left.
Yeah.
I got a couple of rants we could discuss, or what did you want to discuss, Cap?
No. Let's hear a Frosty rant. It's been a while since we've had one of those.
I don't know if we discussed this on last week's show or not. I wrote it down though. Miles Morales' other characters. Did we discuss that? He's been in the comics a couple of times. They're showing him as Captain America, and they have a version of him as another character. Like, they're basically, Miles Morales is Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing these like one-shot comics, or like, what if he was Captain America? What if he was Iron Man? What if he was whatever?
Right.
And everybody on Twitter, they were pulling what you always say, oh, it's woke, and all that. And I'm like, same, because they're trying to take this African American.
Hasn't Peter Parker done all those things too? Like,
well, yeah, but they're saying like, oh, they're trying to make Captain America this African American, leave him alone, and all this. And like, to me, this is the stupidest thing, because like,
but wasn't Falcon
seen this
winner?
Well, hang on, we've seen this though like 100 times.
Right.
A character gets popular in Marvel, and then they do these kind of like, they do it with TV shows too, where they do backdoor pilots. This is them just going, well, Miles Morales, he's really popular at the moment. He's Spider-Man. What if a Miles Morales Captain America? Would that be popular? Would people buy it? And they're just doing that. They're just trying this. They do it every time. Right. Remember when Gwen Stacy came back and she was popular, and we had like, we had Spider Gwen, then we had Gwenpool,
Venom Gwen,
yeah, and they did it with Deadpool when Deadpool.
I was going to say Deadpool. They did the same thing with Deadpool. Right.
This is just something Marvel does, and I got into this dumb debate on Twitter, and I kept being like, "Dude, this is the stupidest argument ever." Because I was like, because all these people are saying, "Oh, it's because of like, it's woke. They're trying to make Captain America black." I'm like, no, it's just he's popular right now.
Okay, pause. I have more in common ethnically with Miles Morales than I do Peter Parker. Why? Because Miles Morales isn't black; he's half Puerto Rican. I too am half Puerto Rican. I identify with Miles Morales. I like the representation of seeing Miles Morales portraying Captain America as a half Puerto Rican myself. Go team.
Well, like,
this makes
I think they're just doing. I don't think it has anything to do.
I know, Frosty. I know.
No, but my point is though, like, so this guy is saying like his whole argument was I'm wrong because he's not popular right now, and I was like, the two Spider-Verse movies were insanely popular.
Right.
That was the most successful Sony animated Sony film that they had so far. And he's like, well, it's not. It didn't do better than Spider-Man did. And I was like, it's still their most successful animated movie.
Right.
And then the recent video game that sold 6.5 million units. So he's just popular right now. Like, and then he's like, he was trying to argue with me that he wasn't popular, and neither was Gwen Stacy. And I was just like, dude, this is so dumb. But yeah, that's why it happened. That's why we're seeing this in comics right now.
Right.
The other thing Marvel does is if a villain starts doing well, they turn him into an anti-hero.
Like Loki.
Loki, yeah.
Yeah.
And and they're always doing this. This is just
Right.
they milk characters.
Right. It's money,
And
money,
like
money, money, money.
yeah, exactly.
Right. They just,
Um
hey, a character's popular. What are we gonna do? Let's cast a bigger net. See what we catch. Ugh.
all right, well, this was what a conversation I had with Real Super Killers. But someone put forth, I know you're not a huge Dragon Ball fan, but you know who Frieza is, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So someone said Frieza versus the Invincible verse, the entire universe. Who wins? And most people were saying Frieza would win. Anytime, I think partly because we do battle nerds, anytime someone says that, I start going, can I beat Frieza?
All the old ladies scrolling through the things and.
I came up with 3 reasons. Well, what do you think? I mean, where do you?
Honestly, I don't know enough. I think I know more about the Dragon Ball universe than I do about the Invincible universe.
Okay, but you've seen Invincible, like.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen what Viltrumites can do. I don't know if there's what the more powerful characters are in that universe, or apparently there's like distant timelines, so I don't know where exactly it would fall. So
the most powerful person that we've seen in that show was Battle Beast.
Okay. Wasn't
Do you remember that?
That was like season 1, like a disposable
the lion.
Yeah.
That guy.
Oh.
He comes back and he's people fear him across, like just saying his name. People are like, oh fuck.
Right.
He's so powerful that even if Omni-Man was there, Omni-Man would have gotten the shit kicked out of him.
Damn. Yeah. All right. So I don't know. How does that compare to a Dragon Ball character who can like ripple reality?
Well, just based on what do you think? Like, what do you like? Have you seen? Do you think Frieza would win?
I would still give it to Frieza.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to scale to Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also Frieza's way more powerful now. Basically, I agree. Frieza wins, but there are 3 possibilities. Adam Eve. Because Adam Eve, if Frieza didn't just instantly vaporize her and like even just a tiny bit of her was left, her powers kick in and she's near death. She comes back and then she turns into Dr. Manhattan, basically.
Right.
Super Killers told me that Frieza does have some ability to reject like you changing his form. But she does. She actually moves atoms around.
Right.
So I think it probably would work. So she could just be like, now you're a cheeseburger.
Right.
And then he would be like, plunk. Yeah. Like, so she might be able to do it.
Right. Well, again, it goes back to the paper, rock, scissor thing. You have a power.
Yeah.
You had played a character who had like sprinkle and gravity ability or something to make things weightless, and you put your spin on it.
Yeah.
So here's your power set. How do you overcome a thing? And I think that's what makes a character is if this character were faced with a thing with your power set, how would you overcome it?
I agree. I think it's interesting when characters have limitations. I hate it when they're just like, oh, I just resisted it because.
Right.
Speaking of which, oh yeah, we should talk about that real fast. I know you're not a big fan of this debate because it divides people. But well, let me just finish with the Invincible thing. So I said 3 things. So that Kirkland said that Invincible is more powerful than Superman because
eventually.
Yeah, because at the end of the series, he's 20 years old, but he's going up against Viltrumites that are like thousands of years old. So when he becomes thousands of years old, he's so powerful, he's more than Superman.
Right.
Third thing, which that led my brain elsewhere. The third thing was there's a character known as Omnipotus in this universe. We don't meet him till way later on. But he's kind of like a combination of Galactus and Darkseid.
Okay.
And he shows up and basically he absorbed all the energy from another universe and now he wants to eat our universe. And all the heroes fight him, but none of them can really beat him. And he's weakened. He gets beaten, but like it's because he only just started eating our world, so he's low power.
Okay.
But an all-powered version of Omnipotus. At that point, he's omnipotent, so he would beat Frieza.
Right.
So those are my 3 possibilities. Also, Spawn is there, so maybe Spawn, but that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
What made me think that was we just had another death battle.
Yes. Round 3.
Round 3, yeah. I thought it was pretty accurate. I know Goku is like crazy powerful right now, but as soon as Superman, like in the where they combined all the Supermen into one version of Superman,
Right.
and then they're like, and then they point out that yeah, he just defeated a 6-dimensional being.
Right.
It's like, yes, it's
It's
Superman. That he
Superman.
now he's more powerful than Mixelpidalic, you know, like
Right. Just
Superman's just like
Superman
yeah,
is
I can
transcendent. Like he is. So being a sci-fi writer, and when it comes to creating characters, like there's a point where, and it was a brief moment. Admittedly, it was a brief moment, but it's like, should I make a character that I know will just wipe the floor with Superman? And then it almost becomes too powerful because you're thinking of how did I want to be super cool and the best, so I want to be able to walk in and just bitch slap Superman and make my bitch, and it's like, no, you don't do that.
you can't beat Superman,
Right.
and that's the
Like how
problem.
Darkseid is like an essence, a construct of.
Well, okay, so
Like
but that's the thing.
Superman's sort of like
The only way you can beat Superman is to transcend speed and strength and things like that,
right,
and just be a force that like I am just beyond those things.
right,
And that's the only way you can beat Superman. So, and the problem is even then, now in the way they've written the character, he goes beyond that,
right,
and so it's like, so he's just one of those things,
right.
really. And in my opinion, the okay, fine, we have this character, but now it's no, you can no longer write stories where, oh, can I win unless you weaken him,
Right.
and so the story no longer becomes that, it becomes other things about him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
him
right.
being a father, him being, you know,
Well, I think
like
that's when it gets interesting is when you start exploring other aspects to this.
yeah, the more character driven things. I
Right.
mean, it is, but I mean, I don't. Uh, I don't. I like also weak characters, like not weak, but like you know, characters like Daredevil and
Right.
ones that like they're on the line. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I find that interesting, but I agree with their assessment. Even not knowing everything about Frieza as some other people do. But just what I know of Superman and what I've seen of Frieza,
Right.
I've never seen Frieza take on a Mixelpidalic.
No.
And now that we know that Superman beats even that, it's
Right.
just like
By a whole other one dimension.
yeah.
Like, what?
Well, 6 is one more than 5. I know that much.
Oh, he's punching up, man. That's Superman.
Yeah. I don't know. My favorite version of Superman recently was the Superman cartoon that just recently came
it was
out.
so
I thought
nice.
that was
But see, you know what's great about that? Because it's an origin, he can still become that. In fact, and the way they wrote it, he's already become that in other universes. So
well. They did point out that Frieza beats every other version of Superman other than the main version of Superman.
yeah.
Because yeah, every time you see Superman in anything else, he's scaled way the fuck down.
Right.
Because yeah, he's that when you make him that powerful, he's very hard to write.
Right.
I always admire people that can take ultra powerful characters and write them as ultra powerful. And the thing is, even if you scale back, like look at Thor, most of the time when you read Thor, he's way weaker than he should be as well. And
Right.
it's because people struggle because it's like, what do? You have to put him against these giant things.
So in Quantum, I actually have the loose story idea for. Yeah, you ever play? Everybody who's played a video game has done this. You're at an ultra powerful level, and then you return to like a lower level, and you just stomp through it. And like, for me, it was the big snake in Final Fantasy VII, where this thing just murders you senselessly when you first encounter
I
it.
went back and killed it
And then
too,
you can go back and like later on and just one hit it, and it's just done. And it's just. I think that'd be a funny thing to explore story wise, to where, oh crap, we need to go back to this place, but you know they're now overpowered, and it's just an effortless just jaunts through this whole excursion.
Anime does that.
Yeah. Actually, Rick and Morty did it in one episode where they're just walking through. It was the Heist Con one where they're just walking through like this ruins, and it's just so effortless. Like,
Yeah, no, you see that a lot in anime, where they have to reach a certain level, and
mm,
then once they do, they go they're like, "Oh, this is now effortless for us." And
right,
yeah, which I mean, yeah, you think about that. That game was kind of anime the game.
right.
So, I haven't played a JRPG in a long time.
uh, Final Fantasy was my
Your one excursion into
that
that.
was my cannonball into the anime realm. Ooh,
Have you played any other JRPGs though?
so I played a little bit of Chrono Trigger,
No.
Secret of Mana. I think that was it, really.
Yeah,
But those are
I
like the
can't
good
even
ones to, yeah, those are like the good ones to play though. Like,
remember. Cap has that. I firmly believe this about you. I forget what it's called, but there's this thing where when you look back, you can like be like, oh, this was so good and this was so good, and then you look at stuff now and you're like, it's all shit, and like it's like this thing, this mental thing, and what it is because you're picking the good ones and forgetting about all the shit that existed back then.
oh, there was a lot of shit
Um,
that existed back then.
yeah,
They didn't
but like
regulate games the way they did nowadays.
no, but there are good stuff out now. Oh, we didn't talk about it, but did you see the? I know you're not a big fan. Oh, we did talk about it last week, the GTA 6. But did you see the trailer yet?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it looks good,
No,
right?
it looks good. It looks like an open world in Florida. Yeah,
It does look like Florida Man the game, which I
yeah,
know a lot of
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
people have said. But I love that.
But it
I haven't
centers
done
around
that.
a female thing, so it's woke.
Well,
Rabble, rabble.
I don't think that's the case.
Shh.
I think it's got two
The
characters.
internet says it focuses on a female, therefore it is woke.
Okay, well, I
Yeah,
think they're wrong because I think it's on two characters anyway. The
no,
last game
yeah, yeah.
Last game had three characters. You had what's his name? Oh, I can't remember their names, but you had
There's
like
a female, therefore it is woke. So
okay,
saith the
well,
internet.
sure. Well, last game we had three characters. One of them was like the crazy guy who
Mm,
represented the player
yeah,
because he was just fucking nuts off his head.
right.
And then there's the kind of wealthy dude, and then there was the guy that like lived in the ghetto and stuff.
Not a single
Yeah,
female to be seen among the main cast.
you could play one online if you wanted.
I know, I know. Shh. Shh.
I like ignoring it and just being when people come at you and stuff like that, just ignore the sarcasm and be like blah 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 blah
Right.
because it really confuses them.
Hmm.
Anyway, what do you guys think? Frieza versus the Invincible first, and also what do you think of Miles' other characters?
Yeah.
And also, which character would you like to see him play in an alternate universe? Like if he couldn't be Spider-Man.
Ooh. You know what? Let me think on that one.
Okay.
I need to think of that one. I'll give you my answer next week.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, also,
I'll
actually,
think
what
about
do you think of other versions of characters? Like you know, like
It's been done.
what's her name? X-23 is
X-23 is now Wolverine. I
See, the
liked.
thing is, I don't mind it because, like, when I look back,
Mhm,
I think people get upset because it replaces the version they like.
right.
But when I look back,
They're not
I
doing
didn't
that.
always like the main version.
Right.
Like to me, the best Flash is Wally West.
Right.
To me, the best Ghost Rider is Danny Ketch.
Right.
And so I think it's cool when they do this. And sometimes you get really cool stuff like with Frank Castle
Hmm.
being the Ghost Rider and then also the Herald of Galactus.
Right.
That is such a fucking cool character.
Right.
Um,
You know
what's
what?
it called? Cosmic Rider? Like, you know what I
You're
mean?
right.
Like, I love the idea.
You know what I liked was when DC and Marvel slammed their toys together, so we got like the
The
Nightclaw.
amalgams.
Yeah, like I enjoyed that. Like,
That's what I mean. I'm fine with it though, because like if someone growing up right now, some kid is reading X-23 Wolverine,
hmm,
and they're like, and then like they're like, this is my
that's their
Wolverine.
Wolverine. That
And then
is
you
your
know, and
Professor Hulk.
why does it not matter? Because Wolverine will be back as Wolverine proper,
Right.
and then someone will be introduced to that, and they'll be like, "This is Wolverine," and then this guy will be sat here on a podcast one day going, "Well, when I was a kid, my Wolverine was X-23 Wolverine,"
Right.
and then people will be like, "Oh, that was a cool version,"
Hmm.
but it's like I feel like it's just at the time when it comes out, people get salty,
Hmm.
but you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. We are reaching that hour. Hey, we still got pitches to do. We need to do our board
We
game
do.
pitches. Want to
Okay.
give ourselves 2 weeks for that?
All right. Well, I have Catan, and
I have
you
Shoots and
had
Ladders.
Officer Shoots and Edges Ladders. Sorry.
I don't know. I courtesy of Richard, Smoking with Frogs, which I will be on his show again on Tuesday. He surprisingly had a lot of knowledge on Shoots and Ladders. Apparently, it's one of the first board games ever conceived. Dates back to like the Egyptian times. So my head immediately went Yu-Gi-Oh. So that's where that's creatively where my brain is with my Shoots and Ladders pitch.
All right. Well,
Have it almost be like Pitfall, but Shoots and Ladders.
So tune in for 2 weeks from now for that.
Right.
In the meantime, smash that thumbs up button.
Yes.
Hit the notification bell. Hit subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. Follow at Real Super Killers on Twitter. Do all those things.
Yes.
If you do, I don't know.
You win a crisp internet high five from Cap.
Yes, there you go.
Clap, clap. We do like to end the show with a nerdy quote by Frosty. Mr. Frosty, take us away. I need to pee.
I love this world, but something has happened. There's been a change. It seems like I'm the only one who can see that humanity is broken, and the people with the power to fix it don't know how.
Good night, everybody.